Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Frankie B, and guess who's right back into the art flow? Well, let's say this time around, as you can see, I'm doing some sketch cover artwork, and this is actually for an upcoming auction that's going to be on the Alterna site, and fingers crossed, it should be happening this upcoming Saturday. But you know, things happen sometimes, so we'll just see. We'll see how that plays out. Anyway, this is sketch cover from Robert Geronimo's Blood Realm. And I sat there and I said, you know, as I've mentioned in other videos, for me to do artwork is something where, you know, in my head, I have to have somewhat of a theme or something to sort of guide the journey. So I opened up the Blood Realm Giant. I started looking at it. And then I started going back into my head going, yeah, you know, I used to enjoy doing like keyframes from story, you know, from film, like working on film scripts and stuff and doing keyframes. And also, you know, there were, you know, copyright scripts from advertising too. They'll be like, oh, we need a keyframe, something, just an image to kind of give the client or someone an idea of what's going on in the story. So I said, okay, let me see if I can do the same thing. So I looked inside the Blood Realm. I'd read it before, and then I sort of skimmed through it again. And I said, okay, what I'm gonna do is try to grab a moment, you know, some powerful moments that I thought were pretty relevant and which could also go toward my strengths. And it, you know, my strengths and what I enjoy drawing and see what happens. And I came across a scenario where I can't think of the dragon's name. The book's closed too. So there's a dragon. There's a scene where the three sisters, and here I'm going to flip it over so you can see, because again, this is two-sided, but there's a scene where the three sisters are going to battle this dragon. And this is actually the line from the book where the dragon is like, General Gorn has promised me lordship, dominion over this region as it should be. You are the last to die. And when she engages these three female beings and in combat. And so I thought, like, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll treat this as a keyframe. So this would be the scene right when you're about to engage into the conflict. So I drew it out, did it all in pencil and stuff like that. So I do not have a video of me drawing it out and stuff like that. But, you know, I wanted to make sure I got it done, you know, and then now I can sort of focus on the inking aspect of it. There's also this little character right here. And again, I apologize, Rob. I don't remember the character's name and stuff like that, but he's a very prominent character in the story. So I thought I would put him right there into this spot. And then pretty much everything else is just a massive extension. You know, this is all going to be pretty much, I'm going to try to fill this in, I believe. Let me see, look at it. This is all going to be black. And so, all right, so here we go. All right, as a reminder, this is a mashup video. My mashup videos are pretty much me just talking a little bit, just so you know, I'm a human being, not a spam bot. And that you know, and that you know, I'm a traditional artist, but I do use software like Photoshop for digital coloring as well as editing my work and stuff like that. You know, I want to give people the idea that when you're inking stuff like this, when you're hand inking on paper, and when I have to scan work in, especially for the comic book work for Codgers and Cowboys, you know, there's a stage where you know, I go in and I may do additional editing, cleaning up lines and stuff like that, you know, or even adding something. You know, the funny part about inking or embellishers back in the day is that their job was to sort of catch those little, you know, accidents that that the penciler might have you know, might have missed something or whatever. You know, the arm may be not that right or whatever. So then the inker would come in and may, you know, they may have a better grasp on the anatomy of a character or whatever, and they sort of add their little magic to it. In many cases, they're like the untold heroes, you know. A good inker catches those things, and you'll never know, you know. So people go, wow, that artist, you know, they'll think of the penciler being the one who might have did something, but you know, the inker might have saved something. You know, the penciler might not have you know, did that arm just right, or might have caught something a lot different, and then the inker or embellisher comes in and hooked it up. So anyway, so I would say this is one of those points where technology comes in and it really does amplify, the speed and the capability of doing stuff and editing and cleaning up lines and things like that. So yes, I do that. But I am a traditionalist. So, I do have, like, when this is done, this is done. This is on this sketch cover. And I also want to add too that actually I had to put some tape right up in here. Again, when I was trying to go through it, and it just pushed a little bit harder. So, just want anybody who eventually, if they do get this, if they just know that and stuff, and it just adds a little bit more. I'm always, as a collector of original artwork, I'm fine with anything. Like, if as long as the artist is the one who did it, I'm fine. You spill a little coffee on it, not a problem. I'll still take it. Thank you. As long as you're the one who did it. That's the whole point of collecting. You want to get every aspect of it. You want the full effect of that artist working on it. Well, with that said, I'm switching pens. I'm actually working with some Microns right now. So I usually use a Micron 01, and then I'm switching with the 003. The 003 is much more smaller, as you can imagine, and it just allows you to get in there. Now, I have to say, Rob has such an interesting style, and so it's not, my job is not to try to copy what he's doing, because I can't. All I can do is draw with my my own style, but then also try to remain true to what he's doing. So in his comic, the dragon had this kind of, how can I describe it? It's almost like this fade, like the eye, to me, did not look as a full-on pupil. It looked almost like it was almost out of sync, like kind of faded. So right there, I just hit it with a couple of little lines. So it's almost fuzzy looking. Kind of interesting. I like that. And then I've actually come in with a lot more, detail with this dragon. Love the face, so I felt like it definitely left room. That's one thing about Rob's artwork, which is really exciting, is he's one of those artists who he leaves a lot of area open for other artists to interpret. And while I'm able to interpret, you still can say, okay, well, this is a Rob Geronimo character, which is very important. There's many times where artists who do draw a certain character, and then people just look at it and they go, oh, there's no way, it just doesn't work. So he definitely leaves a lot of room and stuff. All right, so this guy. So we'll see how these guys go. I have to say, I really do enjoy the Alterna auctions and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm in one of those situations, just to be frank and stuff, that I have a book at another publisher, Second Sight Publishing, and they're doing Kajis and Cowboys, and yet I'm also doing some artwork for Skis, Legends of Log, and then hopefully I talked to Pete, so it looks like in the future you might catch a Frankie B some artwork for what was it, oh my god, King Cryptid. Had a brain for 1 minute. I almost was gonna call him Sasquatch or some weird reason. It was like weird, like I was like, oh man, but I'm glad I gave myself a moment to sort of reflect. I must admit that it is not easy to sit and try to talk while you're drawing, because your mind is, I know my mind is just wanting to just focus on art. It's like the music is there, just to add a sort of background noise, but I really want to just, usually it's just quiet music and just creating artwork. But I've gotten used to doing these, yamming on a little bit. All right, let's see, we'll do it a little bit more. Now, one of the things about it is when you're doing stuff like this, I know for myself, and this is what I would call really like detail, where you're starting to get into texture of the skin and stuff like this. This is what I would call like a one-off. This would be a one-off kind of image. If I had to do a sequential, like comic pages of this character like this, I would definitely pull back on it. That's the tricks of the trade, because I think sometimes people, as much as you see a lot of detail artwork and stuff like that, a lot of that detail artwork doesn't bode well when you're dealing with production, when you're under a deadline, because that's the magic, the magic thing there, it's the magic word for the day, because pretty much deadlines do mean something. If people aren't getting their product out at a certain time, a reasonable time, then you can lose people. I don't care how detailed your work is or whatever, eventually people just be like, well, we don't want to get any more of your stuff because it's going to take 4 or 5 years to get it, and that's just not doable. So, I would definitely like, if this character, if I had to draw this character, oh yeah, I'd pull back a little bit, but by me pulling back, I could do a lot of cool things with just, the form of the character and how they fly. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. That's what's going on right now with Kajis and Cowboys. Currently, I've been really doing a lot of sketches. I can't show the sketches, but me and Matt have been going back and forth, and just, I feel like the way we work is how I imagine how Stan Lee and Jack must have worked in the early days. Not in a bad sense. It's just the sense of like, ideas being bounced off and we're just kind of bringing things together. Like I personally don't know the full story. Like Matthew gave me an overview of where he wanted to take it, and then I read it, but in my mind I was just like, I know there's gonna be changes, just because eventually that's what happens. You may look at a story one way, and then you start seeing the art coming in, and then all of a sudden you go, oh man, maybe I caught something here or there. And that's a place where I think visually, like I've just been drawing certain things, and he sees them, and my job is really just to kind of spark his creativity, so that if he might have been thinking one way, then maybe he'll go, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't even thinking about that, and vice versa. Like he came back with some notes and stuff that really it really sparked my creativity, because I was like, oh wow, I didn't know this, and I was taking this into another different area. But again, staying true to what the story's about, because that's my main thing, is maintaining a sense of continuity, and ensuring that the brand, that we stay on point with the message, which is so important. You got to stay on message. You don't want to be out there in the wilderness and you're just dropping all these weird like ideas just because you're like, oh, this might be cool and this might be cool. You start doing that, then eventually you may end up getting yourself into a hole where you're like, I don't even know what story I'm trying to tell here. And there's many creators that have felt that too, who have been like, oh man, no, what happened? All right, let's see, we're at 13 minutes. This is usually the point where I'm going to get ready to prepare for hyperlapse. And hyperlapse is that wonderful segment, that time where it starts speeding up. I think I'm going to pull the camera back a little bit because I'm really close up, and I feel like I want people to get a little bit more view. So once it goes in hyperlapse, you may see a shift in the in how the view is and stuff. I learned the other day that I actually had HD, another additional HD 60 on this iPhone as I'm recording. So I was like, oh shoot, things you learn, huh? New year, new stuff. Always learning, never stop learning. And so I've started using that. So yeah, so with that said, as I always say, let's keep that art flowing. And thank you so much for just hanging out and checking out my channel.